First thing to consider, very important, is the setting. Where are you? Depending on where you are, will determine the kind of question that you will use. So you've got formal and informal greetings, for example. So for formal greetings, I just want to go over this a little bit. If I can do it, how do I close this? So, you know, formal greetings in a formal situation, somebody in a professional situation, somebody's going to greet you with good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on the day or the time. And they're gonna greet you with how do you do? Yeah, how do you do? So that's a formal setting. For a professional setting, we're going to adjust our language, because if we don't, then it's kind of a clash. The language clashes with the culture. There's a certain culture which is expected, which means that if you go to a nice place, you're certainly expected to be sort of educated. That's how you are able to pay for such services. You're wealthy or you're rich because you've taught, you've learned, not because you've just received lots of money on the lottery, which does happen. Some people just win the lottery and they become incredibly rich, but they don't know how to fit in and adapt. And this is part of language, is adapting. It's adapting to the environment we're in. It's very important because it gives us credibility in that situation. So some people, if you start talking to them very informally in a formal setting, for example, in a job interview, that would be a big no-no, because you would be essentially being conflict with that environment. So really important to take into account your context. So how do you do? I'm very well, thank you. And you might be a typical response. Informal greetings. Hey, hello, hi. Yeah, it's now between friends. It's a lot more casual. What's up? All right. How's it going? All very informal, more relaxed, in the street. And you'd also say see ya or bye. Bye. So context is important. If you were on the streets of London, you'd hear things like "Wagwan, brother," "Wagwan," which is, you know, a Jamaican kind of influenced "How you doing, brother?" sort of thing. Very informal, very colloquial. Or "I'm all right, mate. I'm all right, mate. And you?" So really reducing the pronunciation and creating kind of a pidgin English, a Creole English, a street English, kind of part of what we were saying about having a secret language. In a way, the street language is kind of a rebellion against the formal, or like the authority, and the authority is the standard. So for the language to adapt and to change is kind of a representation of that rebellion against order, so chaos. So that benefits youths, so that their children, their parents, they don't understand. They're teenagers, so they can get away with doing things that they're not allowed to do. And the same thing happens with criminals who create languages, secret languages, in order to avoid the law. So that's why context is really important. You have to think about language and the context that you find it in, especially when asking questions like, how do you do? Or wagwan, brother. Yeah. So you're not going to go into a job interview with wagwan, brother. You're going to go in there going, how do you do, sir? Okay. And on the street, you're going to be like, wagwan, brother. You're not going to be like, how do you do? Hello, everybody. How do you do?
Yeah.
That's going to make you sound a little bit funny. Okay, next. So titles as well. Just want to cover these again so that we know we've got sir, Mr. and master is the masculine. Sir and Mr. Mr. is the classic one. I didn't actually write it there. It should be written down. Let me just do here. Should be like that. That's the shorter one, Mr. But yeah, you got Sir, Mr. or Master. Master would be for younger, for boys. Mr. would be for adults, and Sir would be either a title or just a kind of a pleasantry or kind of a formal title that is given to men. So usually you have in the UK it's Mr. and then the surname. So I'd be like Mr. English, Mr. English or Sir English. If I was knighted by the Queen, I would be unofficially I would be a Sir. Then you can also have Lord, and you can have other titles, fancy titles. Okay, but if I was a woman, then it would be like Madam English or Mrs. English. So depending on your status, and Madame is a bit old-fashioned. It's a little bit antiquated. I can't say that word. It's a bit old. Mrs. is used if you're married. Miss is for some a lady that is not married, and Ms is the kind of response to political correctness about women being judged by whether they're married or not. So Ms is kind of a neutral equivalent of Mr., not really identifying whether you are married or not if you're a woman. So those are titles anyway. And what's important is that in the UK, generally in the Western world, it's Mr. and then the surname, Mr. English, not Mr. Ben, it's Mr. English.
Learning English superiorly. We're gonna learn English quick.